instead of tryharding with a custom thing.
The gods off. Tell me, you and are there when you can picture your own.
Yeah, I will get to it at some point, boys. I will. I hope. Followed by Baldur's Gate 2, really? I think Baldur's Gate 2 wrote to me on YouTube. I think he's actually German, like me. So I've been looking into armor, actually. Because we're not gonna be a fighter, so we're not gonna have stun immunity, which could be annoying. Yeah. Oh, also the question marks are starting already. Help me. So, there's a couple of options here, of course. Elf could also be a thing. Because we're proccing our Brilliant from the cloak with Wall of Flame. So like more burn armor could be good. I think it's actually a lot what you get. It's like +9 or some crazy shit. Of course we can't see here because everything is question marks. But I think the safest bet is actually the armor with the stun immunity. Because like the lower might afflictions aren't really big of a deal. Dazed and whatnot. Dazed and staggered, I think it's called. And for Dex we're gonna get the boots with immunity to all Dex afflictions because there's such a thing as Petrify. And of course for Resolve, Intellect and Perception we're gonna have Captain Spunkat. So I think this is actually the play. No fighter pretty much means you either have to have it through an item, which we could do, there's items with might downgrade. But I think armor isn't that bad in the first place. 2 might, +2 might is good for a mage. Because a lot of the spells get adjusted by not a lot of other damage. So why Blood Mage instead of Tactician? 2 reasons. First of all, we all knew that it was kind of sketchy with Brilliant and Stealth. And we learned how to keep Valor safe, where the Tactician doesn't really help that much. The Tactician helps in the early game when you don't have Brilliant Cloak, because you can get your withdraw back by withdrawing yourself, which is kind of nuts. It is really cheesy, yes. But there's also a problem that you can't, while the enemy isn't aware of you, and like you're buffing yourself up and shit, and you have Brilliant from Tactician, you can't self-proc Brilliant from the Cloak, because it will actually not give you the real Brilliant buff. It will give you a fake Brilliant buff, because you already have the Brilliant Tactician. And then when you go in combat, you would lose both buffs. I mean, it would still say you have Mind over Matter, but it wouldn't actually give you regen. So that class was all about getting Brilliant from the Cloak in combat, which is kind of gay. And it's a lot better if you can get it out of combat, or, I mean, you're gonna be in combat, but out of enemy sight, out of actual combat, and extend it with Salvation of Time. And also I found a little bit of cheese with the invisibilities. So all the invisibilities you get one from the priest side, and you also get one from the mage side. Now the one from the mage side is a little bit harder to get. You have to kill Console Horde, then you'll get a book from Arkamir. Or you have to kill Arkamir, which I don't know if that's the best idea. It might be slightly easier. But the thing is, we're gonna go to Console Horde's place for the Brilliant Cloak anyway. So the cheese I found within this is that there's a lot of spells that you can cast that won't break Invis. Yes. You can cast spells from Invis and stay Invis. So, all wall spells. So, almost everything I think that doesn't do direct damage, every debuff or wall. I mean, walls are a slight exception because stuff like Wall of Flame and Wall of Hobbling actually does damage. But you can actually use such a cheese as casting a Wall of Flame, and the enemy AI, because they can't see you, they will go onto the wall like retards and will search for you. First of all, they'll take damage from the wall. But also, because they're all super close together, you can cast a disable on them. You could cast something like Pull of Aora, which lasts for like 15 base seconds, I think, and then you can extend it with int to like 20 plus. Or you could just cast stuff like Gaze of the Adragan, which has shorter duration, has like 6 base, and you can extend it to like 15 or something. But basically, all these spells will not break your invis, so you can attract enemies that they're clustered in one spot with a wall. While they take damage from the wall, you can cast any type of CC on them, ideally this, and then you also can cast phantoms or other summons from out of stealth, because once again they don't do direct damage. So you could like cast a wall, attract all the enemies, CC them, and then you could either cast a phantom on them, which will have an easier time attacking them, or you could just cast something like this, because they're like getting pulled by Pull of Aora or something, so this does a shit ton of damage. And then you just go in this as quickly again as you can. Or if you have like Brilliant and all that stuff unlocked anyway, you're just gonna have Bearing Death Door active and they can't kill you, so you can just attack them as well. You don't really need to use the Invis cheese, but it is something that works. It is something that actually works. Improved Invis. Even Diablo 1 mobs avoid firewalls. Yeah, but there's no Invis in Diablo 1. Also, Tommy, 1984, thank you for the follow. But yeah, we found some additional cheese. I don't know how important it's actually gonna be for the run. It is gonna help with fighting like the mobs on the way to Console Horde. It's gonna help in killing Console Horde. But once you get the Invis from Agdamir, that one is actually even stronger, because that Invis can actually be extended by Wall of Draining, and it can be extended by Salvation of Time. So that's gonna be pretty interesting. You don't even need Brilliant then, because we're a Blood Mage, we can get our spells back. So you can even fight without Brilliant once you have the Invis from Akamir. And like you extend, like you walk in on the enemies, Invis, via Invis, you cast the Wall of Draining on them. It's the same effect as a Wall of Flame. They will be alerted by the wall, they all pile on top of it, and it will extend your own Invis, and you can do whatever you want. So that's gonna be interesting as well. It's not all about Brilliant, but I think at the end of the day, getting Brilliant through Wall of Flaming yourself will still be the thing 90% of the time. But it's an additional tactic that we can use, and that can be useful, especially against enemies with Arcane Cleanse. It's just really helpful. You might remember last stream, we ended on not being able to fight the mobs in front of the Brilliant Cloak and shit like that. And I mean, at that same day I figured the fight out, and it was actually super easy. You just use your summon and stay at range. But this is just an additional safety measure with the invisibility. So, yeah. Glad to see Wizard, that's for sure. Yeah, the whole Tactician thing was a little bit... I wouldn't have minded if my run was disqualified or something, whatever. As I kept saying, I don't really care. But at the same time, I put all this time in it, I might as well try to win without using a quite obvious bug that was supposed to be fixed several patches ago, and they just never tested whether the fix worked. So instead we're gonna do this. I don't really know what to start with. At the start we don't really want to fight that much, but we have to survive the boat. So we could go Spirit Shield or something. Yeah, the armor is not gonna break at the start. Probably just Spirit Shield. I'm gonna go with Skane because Wizard has enough summoned weapons, so we don't need Barras for the Rot Skulls and shit. We're gonna have summoned weapons from Wizard and Mass. And Skane has the extra invis that you can use before you actually kill Console Horde. So that's gonna be good. Shellfog and Cheese. Well, the problem with Shellfog is... why I'm not picking it right now. I will be picking it later. But the problem right now is the expert mode. I don't really want to deal with that right now. Like, you can't really see whether you hurt yourself with it and stuff like that. I will eventually pick Shellfog and Slacken because they're super OP, obviously. But we're gonna start out with something safe. Because the boat is the only fight where we could potentially die. Because it's the only fight we're gonna do for 10 hours. So yeah. Yeah, the Lance. Later we will have the Lance. Like, late game with the Scordius Edge, like the infinite attack speed or the no recovery, and all the crazy buffs that we already saw on the Tactician. Like, the Wizard just has additional buffs on top of that, and also the Wizard can proc the helmet way easier, the Badatos helmet, because the Wizard just has fucking lightning spells. So you just cast something like Chain Lightning on yourself or whatever, or you cast, I don't even know, on yourself level 1 spell. It doesn't really matter. Any shock damage. You don't need scrolls for that like the Tactician needed. Also, I found out you can just pickpocket the Badato helmet. So we don't even have to fight the Badatos at all. We're gonna get the helmet for free, and we were gonna get it very early. You need like 7 Sleight of Hand for it, and of course you need a little bit of stealth so you can sneak up. But Sleight of Hand is actually OP because you can move, you can pickpocket without risk of ever getting caught. Like, you can't fail a pickpocket in the traditional sense. You can fail it that the inventory of the one you're trying to pickpocket doesn't open, but you're not going to turn anyone hostile unless you put a grenade in the inventory or something like that. So that's going to be really helpful as well. This is basically Aerie from Baldur's Gate 2. No, not quite as powerful. Not quite as powerful as Baldur's Gate Cleric Mage. Baldur's Gate Cleric Wizard is such cheese. I mean, this is gonna be cheese too, don't get me wrong. But it's not as crazy. So we could either go with 8 con or with 8 dex. Now, in the greater scheme of things, our dex doesn't matter. Actually, in the greater scheme of things, our dex is a hindrance, and we'd rather like to have it like this, because we don't want to have too high reflex, so we can easily hit ourselves for a lot of damage for the Badato helmet. But before we have Scordio, I don't know. We can get the Scordius trophy super early. And for free as well. You can pickpocket the key really easily. And then it's just a matter of using Spark Cracker to getting the guy away from the chest. And you get the trophy for free. So I think definitely 8 decks, but maybe even less. But if I went less, I would be putting it in con. So I don't know if that even makes any sense. Yeah, there's no reason to fight them. And also, Raddy, the Ring of the Marksman, you can also pickpocket it, so there's no reason to fight those guys either. Hey, Virgilius! Oh yeah, Fighter Mage Thief was really good as well. But it was not as good as Cleric Mage, of course. But Mage anything was amazing in Baldur's Gate. I always liked the Sorcerer myself, as you guys know. I'm also gonna try out the male voices. I haven't actually ever really tried these. I've tried Grog a little bit today, he's kind of cool.
Out of my way! Swift and silent as a really swift and silent thing.
Thanks, Ratty. I decided against having 5 stealths. 4 is enough with Kragas. Yeah, I'm still gonna go with 5 because there's no reason not to, and I'm still gonna use Kragas on top. Just to be safe because I'm bad at sneaking.
Well, if you insist.
Bats, are we taking bats? Don't take bats, it's not good. It's not good for your... whatever. You know what I mean.
I won't be gone long.
The 1 point in mechanics spares you lockpicks in Maha. Fair point, but eventually we're gonna respec for mechanics anyway, and we're never gonna need lockpicks at some point. Like, yeah, early on they're rare, but at some point you just don't use them anymore. I think when I'm done with pickpocketing in Nikataka, I'm just gonna put points into mechanics after instead, so I can go to the ship and steal them blind, the deck of many things. You can steal lots of shit there as well.
What's our plan?
You don't want them to see me? That's cold.
If you win, the name of the character is gonna be on the flag that the devs will always see. How will you name it? I have no fucking idea. I'm always bad with naming characters.
Or into the breach.
Yeah, let's hope. With patience, it will work, Ratty. As I said, I have to train every single fight on a normal save, where I can reload before I actually do it with this guy.
Are you sure my beard won't give me away? Flattery will get you everywhere. Another for the queen.
I am your eyes.
For strong jaw!
"12 slots on the tablet, 50 on the badge." Yeah. Let's see how many people will actually get it. Reroads. Nom nom reroads, yeah. That would be a good name. Yeah, I'm pretty sure playtesting has always been pretty bad, both in PoE 1 and PoE 2. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty certain that's a point. Guys, give me a name. I have no idea how to name this guy. Just give me a name. Too easy, bro. I was actually thinking along similar lines. Donald Trump. More in Baldur's Gate. And something with Josh. Ulti Vic. I was actually thinking towards that direction too. Next game, please. That's actually pretty good too. I'm gonna go with this.
Go forth now, watcher. Father, edge the door.
GG easy, no.